Hey there, happy Sunday to you. So, I am coming to you from a day that is not raining, yay, so I can do this outside, which is lovely. And it is a week full again of a lot of high emotions. We're not through our COVID experience. That is not yet done with us. So, there's a lot that we are adjusting to around our lives alongside the COVID experience. And I am certain that we will find our way towards a place that we will coexist with COVID. But that's not what's on my mind and heart today. I wanted to talk a little bit about blind spots and unconscious biases because I feel like it's a very important conversation to bring up, not just now. There's a lot of activity and conversation around it right now, obviously. But I feel like it's an important conversation to bring up in general. Coexisting with our fellow humans is challenging. And we are not the same. No one of us is, regardless of where we were born, regardless of the color of the outside of our bodies, regardless of the shape we come in, the religion that we choose or not to choose, that we just don't believe in this, that, or the other. It is different for every one of us, and no one knows what it's like exactly to walk in somebody else's shoes. An unconscious bias comes in a lot of different shapes and forms, and it is often something that is learned. It is something that is part of your upbringing. And there's some things also, though, that are part of the human psychology and the way our brains work, like affirmation bias, and we will make things work. Our brains want things to make sense. So there's a negativity bias. There's a number of things, yes, that are just part of being human. Specifically, what I'm talking about, though, today is with regards to how we interact with our fellow human beings. And boy, the time is now to lean into this work, to consider whether you're ready to get uncomfortable and sit with where you are, what you know, and maybe lean into what you don't know. How do you figure that out? How do you determine where your blind spots are? There's a lot of really fantastic conversations happening right now, whether it's through written word, spoken word, conversations between people, whether they are friends or whether they're people that you don't really know well, but you want to understand where they're coming from. We need to consider that there are things that we assume about other people, and we may not be aware of those assumptions. Where we are now, we're waking up to the fact that that is the case for many. It's the water we swim in. It's the dirt we grow out of. There are things that we have taken with us along the way in our life journey that we can choose to let go of and learn a different way of approaching. There's a very big conversation around racism versus anti-racism, about how to be a non-optical ally in the face of change. Non-optical ally meaning that you're not doing it just to look good right now. Racist versus anti-racist. You are either one or the other. You are either not for any type of discrimination, regardless of color, creed, socioeconomic status, etc., or you're in the racist camp. You can't say, I'm not a racist. You are either racist or you are anti-racist. Does that make sense? There's a lot of activity around this conversation, and there are others, such as Ibram X. Kendi, who speaks to it far better than I, seeing as he has just moved from American University to Boston University, specifically to open a department on anti-racism. And he has a very excellent book written in 2019 that's on the New York Best Time seller list right now. And the book is, in fact, How to Be an Anti-Racist. And I watched a fabulous 51-minute TED Talk with him where he did a beautiful job of explaining exactly what he means. The interviewers, I thought, did a very nice job moderating and helping to ask questions I think many of us would have. Get curious, friends. Discover for yourself, what is the water you swim in? What are the things that you're not aware of that you might say, that you might do, that you might post on your Facebook page? There are things that you may not be aware of that could be traumatic, and the only way that you could possibly figure that out is to learn. to ask questions. And I feel like this is a great week challenge. So your homework is this week in celebration of the holiday, the Black holiday of Juneteenth, which is this coming Friday, June 19th, which celebrated the official end of slavery in the United States. The Emancipation Proclamation was in 1863, but on June 19th, in 1865 in Texas, Gordon Granger, who was a Union general, declared that slavery was officially abolished in Texas, and that was it. So it is a holiday that it's very cool. There's quite a few interesting organizations that are starting to pay attention to it and to celebrate it. So whether you call it Jubilee Day, Celebration Day, or Juneteenth. But consider this an opportunity for you to dig into an uncomfortable learning of where you are in your biases. It's not necessarily a place where we are expecting to be perfect. Not at all. The idea of it is that you're going to try, you're going to fail, you're going to learn. Only way to grow is to try and fail and go and go. So it's not that you're going to be perfect. That's not the idea. Lean into being an uncomfortable and a imperfect creature, because there's a lot of amazing opportunity there to connect with people in a very different way and to open your eyes to the world around you in a very different way. And maybe together we can make a difference in power and policy that will then start to really systemically change things for all of us. That's healthcare, that's policing, that's about our education system. There are some things that impact every single one of us, particularly here in America, and we have work to do. I don't care where you come from and what you believe, you will be impacted by those things. So educate yourself and just decide for yourself where you stand. But do it based on actual learning. So with that, I wanted to quote Nelson Mandela because he is an amazing human being, author, philanthropist that I love his work, of course, and reflecting upon all that he did in his lifetime. And you guys have probably heard this quote to the umpteenth time, but it's exactly what I'm talking about. That no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to our human heart than its opposite. Just as it is more natural for us to smile than it is to frown. Lean into being vulnerable and sitting in the space that this is an uncomfortable place for everyone, but right now this conversation is about our Black friends. It's not about us. Give them space. Listen. Be quiet. You need to let this time and space evolve and make it less about you and making yourself feel better. That's not what this is about. This is about us learning to come together as a humanity and to be with each other in a much more healthy, authentic way. There's so many more people that said it so much better than I over these last 2 weeks. But I really request that you consider, where are your biases? Where are your blind spots? Where can you learn? Where can you grow? There are amazing resources right now. There's Ibram Kendi's book. There are some amazing, I read a fantastic article in Self in the Culture section, June 5th, 31 resources of how to be an ally. Excellent resource of everything from apps and podcasts and books, authors and such that you might want to consider. So the resources are out there. The lists are out there. Lean in. With that, I certainly come from a place of love and of wishing peace, and I certainly want us each to find a place where we are our most vulnerable, authentic, imperfect selves, striving to learn, love, and grow, to be better throughout our lives, to make our lives better, our planet better. Excellent. Have an amazing week. And happy Juneteenth. Namaste.